So have you found it?
Huh?
You found the other car park, yeah?
Yeah, other car, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you literally want just to put your feet on the sand, go to Porthleven. It's not the best beach though.
I think this looks better though. I think it's better.
How long a walk do you want to go on?
Not much.
What? Define not much.
Not much.
Put a number on it, sir.
1
kilometre.
Possibly 2, maximum 2.
2. Okay. Well, in that case, because if you go along the coastal path,
Sure.
right, there is the most magnificent,
Yeah.
huge beach. It's called Low Bar. It's about 1.5 to 2 kilometres.
That's fine, I'm happy for that.
It is, but it is the most beautiful place around here by far.
I really appreciate that.
Take them along there.
Sure.
You'll know when you get there.
Yeah.
It's like you go along.
see that. Yeah.
You go along about 2 kilometres. You don't see anything much. You've got the path, but there's a house quite close to the beach.
Sure.
Okay, but it's a great big long straight stretch of beach.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, and also the sign's saying you can't swim in it because it's got a really strong undertow.
I understand.
But it is so beautiful.
Really appreciate
It's worth
having you.
going along the walk
Well,
there.
thank you very much. Really
Okay,
appreciate it. Thank
no
you.
problem. Okay, we've done. See people gawping at the top. Why are they gawping? When they have sunglasses on, they gawp more. Right, now, Britain. Very quickly. You see why? Let's turn this off. See, I help brown people. We had a 5-minute conversation about him and his family finding a beach. But you have to be so careful. This is modern Britain. You can't even leave a knife out. If the police came by on a very occasional patrol and saw a knife out, you'd get arrested for, do. Right, let's leave that there. Why do I care that I look? Ideally, I only would turn the camera on when I look nice and... I'm just checking. No, it's got to be like that. When I look nice and rested and in... Now, I'm always constant. But you see, Britain is a country where the last 3 years, 5 years actually, 7 years, knowing for a few years that my physicality, the pathogens were randomly in charge, I started to try and have mutually beneficial friendships, just acquaintanceships, quite organic and normal, with middle-aged people who, without doing any self-pity at all, ever, gradually you feed in your story. Well, I have a damaged, estranged child. I'd like, you know me, you know that I'm never stressed. One of the speeches I do to people, which is, there's no point doing it anymore. There's no point doing anything. I mean, this is, by the way, not the original rusty bike that Richie and Celia, the green politicians even, of one area of Herefordshire, left outside for years. New, virtually unused, new, expensive rally bikes. Now, this is something I adopted that someone had dumped. Let's see if I can bring it back to life. But that's Britain for you. Don't believe anybody. But the things that matter, all that matters to me is, well, if you're going to put anything in the public domain, you better make sure it has a little bit of traction, otherwise somebody could attack you, say, no, you can't put that there, you can't do that. Well, it's got a bit of traction, it's got a bit of people, got a bit of views or whatever over time, less likely that somebody's going to try and attack you. I have no interest in that world. If that happens, I will rearrange to put stuff on Rumble or Odyssey or somewhere else like that. And anyway, virtually everything has gone into a file store also. But you want compañeras and a compañero. The correct sense of that word is somebody who's a fellow sort of troubadour on the road of, we know society's gone a bit wonky, but they're more or less with you. I spent 7 or 8 years trying to find somebody, or rather the half a dozen people who I've closely been allied to in certain ways, and as of 2020, 2021, really doing a lot for various people. Because I was the lucky one. 2020 was nothing. I'd already been through my baptism of buggy fire. But in the real world, there's obviously a couple of things you want. A, if you've got a kid who may feel guilty, and this is, I'm sure there's Shakespeare covers this. You know, if you've got a kid for whatever reason has been pulled aside from the super healthy family kind of environment, that in our case was paradise. We had quite a few of these. Sorry to disturb you, old chap. Been having a good dig? Yeah, we had quite a few of these. Oops-a-daisy, that we rescued. Now, happiness for 10 years. You want somebody, if you expire, if I become a dead parrot, I want a few people who know me, have spent time with me, who with the good body language will say to a child, hello, will say, hey, it's okay, your dad was kind of cool and happy and did really useful, productive things, and his brain was working just right. The tragedy of the situation didn't destroy him. That's basic. Oh, we even had a butterfly farm. Right? That's basic, straightforward, humanist psychology. That's what you want. Anybody would want. And I've been in situations where I've like, hey, if I need to be that role to you, Jim Shand, whose children were destroyed by fat fucking cows who took 50, 60,000 pound wages off the state and did nothing to help him. That's, but forget the officials. You want that from your people. But no, I've discovered that every single person who, for a long time, I kind of joshed with and whatever, you can't rely on. They've got weird little agendas or whatever, or they're not going to be reliable. Because that's all you want. I mean, I've had for 20 years a pretty constant life. And all I wanted was somebody who don't even think about biting me. Somebody who might say to my lost child, don't worry, he had a good decade. So I have to make films to show that that is the case. Might be a risky strategy, might provoke other things, but it's called utilitarian philosophy. More than likely, in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if she sat there, oh well, I got these films that Dad was just fine. The tragic acts that other people caused, but that really is the thing. It's like middle class, supposedly thoughtful people. I realised every single fucking one of them, mainly women, because you need women for that role who will, but it's all about one, it's just about one thing, body language. If I drop dead now, I want somebody who might like be encountering my daughter at the great burning, and them with good body language, because they're not full of either crappy self-pity or mental illness or you'd never quite know where you are with anybody ism. It's just, hey, we had laughs with your dad, you know, he was good and he was dead smart in certain difficult situations. Oops-a-daisy, better put you on there. Oops, a daisy. Will get done for animal abuse. That's all you want. That's actually what you want. You're so sweet. It's ridiculous. But, dear America, that's how lost Britain is. And I'm somebody actually who's known in the region of being very, very helpful to quite a few people in a real fucking mess. No. Britain, you can't rely on anybody at all. So, I care that I look pleasant, healthy, which I am. But that's why I care. And that's why I care that I have my camera on high resolution. But I think I got enough now. Then there's the other thing, which it would be great to have a collaborator, compañera. Compañera does not necessarily mean any kind of, it means a fellow rider along life. Ask a South American, most of them are sane enough to know that life can throw all sorts of weird, dodgy, cruel people doing all sorts of weird stuff. Well, combine forces, watch each other's backs, that kind of thing. I am not sure this is possible in Britain. No, I know it's not. Because for the last, it's nothing to do with this location, the last couple of months, last year really, I've sort of been in such a good state and I've put myself forth in various situations, particularly environmental, with good environmental projects. Not wanting to be male, originating from a woman. But no, they're all fake. Absolutely everybody is fake. It matters. The thing I care about, the only thing I care about, is this bodes. You see, there are the Messiah. Oh, I know. I had a Tom Paul in mind. The Messiahs. The Messiahs. They say that change can be quick. No, change takes a long time. And this has been the way for 7 or 8 years, without a doubt. This total atomized selfishness, self-obsession, fear, all of it. None of which I've suffered from. Good for me. But this will have created now a generation of young adults and kids as well, who are going to be so fucking dangerous for the next 20 or 30 years. Now I care about that if my daughter and anybody important to her is stuck in this country, because you have fools talking about revolution. No. If there's any kind of revolution in Britain, there is so much latent violence under the surface. It's going to be so fucking horrible. You don't want a revolution. You want to sort your society out. And the first thing you have to do to sort your society out is say what you mean what you say. And then second point, follow through. Third point, think about, actually assisting people in your takes a village to raise a child, that kind of thing. And it could be people around you who have nothing to do with children. It's hard. It's risky. And there is no way that social worker who comes once a week and has cake with somebody who is actually an alcoholic but puts on a fake label of mental illness for the social worker, and the social worker anyway should be saying, perhaps we could help getting you on the new enterprise allowance scheme. You've got some skills. No, they don't do that, because that's hard work. I've done that. I've done that for a dozen people. It's really intense hard work over a period, which is not that hard work. But it's also taking a risk. It's crossing that line into, let's try and make a real difference. No, nobody does it. It's astonishing, the chronicle I have about that. But that's the notion that, I'm essentially a Corbynite type of 75% Corbynite, but the notion that the state is going to be able to afford to look after people in such a mess look after is the wrong word, guide them, mentor them, hold their hands, and a bit of tough love in such a mess, but where there are gradual solutions. Can't afford that. So ordinary people have to do it among each other, but they don't. Let's be crystal clear. And this Radio 4, BBC kind of version of everybody's helpful, nice, and community is it's literally the exact opposite, but it's such a absurd fantasy that for 10 years I've lived within that, and oops a daisy, I think you're trying to eat me there. Okay, we'll turn this off now because I really have got... It matters to me that there is some guidance into reality. If you want to change things in society, or if you want to just put some first aid on, you have to start with reality. And the left, or call them what, well, they're not the left, the sensitive non-Tories entered a world, a way of thinking that is nothing to do with reality. And this is not anti-woke. Woke doesn't really exist. But blaming everybody else, or it's just intellectual utter failure. The notion that the state, the NHS, etc., could, even if Britain struck oil here, the richest oil well in the history of the world, we couldn't afford it. The work that's going to have to be done in the next 10 years to just, with some tough love, hold the hands of the younger generation through also the inevitable pretty big recession, even if they'll manage to sort of hide it a bit. The only way my daughter's generation have a vaguely functional society, are able to raise their children without default dangerous narcissistic psychopathy, is if people start to just be a bit more... It's not going backwards. It's the exact... I mean, of course, it all went wrong when John Major did his speech, Back to Basics. No, it's not. So it is back to basics, but not in a repressed Victorian John Majorish way. Because there are straightforward things that have been the case for hundreds of years. If children get traumatised due to angst in their childhood, they're damaged for life. Or rather, they're changed by it for life. Blah, blah, blah. Didn't really intend to do that. But, yeah, that's all that matters to me. The reality of Britain, I repeat, nobody could even be relied on. Like, hey, if I kick the bucket, if I've got private stuff on or stuff online that the kid needs to see, could you be the repository of the passwords? And B, will you be the person who just, like, with good body language, and I'm not telling you because it's a fact, that I could rely on to find and communicate at the appropriate time? Hey, don't worry, Dad had a fine. 13 years. No. I have no idea who could be relied on. Ever. There we go. Is that it? Yeah, all I care about, actually, you see, the one thing I care about that I can't do is make a video of myself walking along the paths, happily, gaily, poodling about. I might try it. Okay, it's time to... Oh, you've been having a little dig. Right, and don't jump off. I like you.